Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to Nick Month 2. This time it's personal. Yes. And today, it's retro rewind time. Hear that clip of Will Smith. Rewind time. Haha. Yeah, it's retro rewind time. We're talking about what is probably an infamous episode of Salute Your Shorts. It's one of the most well known, at least. A ghost story. I know that everyone calls it Zeke the Plumber. So did I. But apparently, even IMDb calls it Zeke the Plumber. But it's called The Ghost Story, which is why I didn't know I had it on Xbox this whole time. Just a side note, Xbox Movies and TV has stopped selling the movies and the TV, and you can still watch whatever you still have on there, but you can't buy stuff anymore. I don't know why. Was nobody buying this stuff? I don't know. What I think they should have done is they should have made it a streaming service type situation where if you have Xbox Gold, you can watch whatever is on there. So it's like a streaming service. So you gotta pay. You get those cards that are 3 months. You're paying for 3 months. You can do that for 3 months. Could have done it like that, but it was like an iTunes sort of thing where you paid per episode. How iTunes is still doing things, but they were kind of like an iTunes kind of situation. But yeah, I have a modest Nickelodeon collection on one of my accounts, and the other one, not so much. But I have the Nick Cannon Show, which I want to talk through those episodes at one point. Both of the seasons or both the volumes of Salute Your Shorts I have on there. I have all the Amanda Show volumes, but I don't know. I don't watch that. Not because of anything with the He Who Should Not Be Named, but I just found, trying to rewatch those episodes, I found her very annoying. About all 4 volumes. All that's on there. So, yeah, it's a lot of stuff. But, Kenan, Kel, Drake, and Josh, all that. And I will be, when I eventually do the review for Freak the Freak Out, Victoria's episode, and the Henry Danger musical, I will be watching those versions, because at least those versions will have no ads compared to the ones on Paramount Plus easier. So yeah. So if you don't know what the show is, just a quick rundown. It's about a group of kids at a summer camp, Camp Anawana, and their counselor, Kevin Lee, also known as Ugg, because Ugg Lee. Get it? Played by the late Kirk Bailey, and he's great. Of course, we got actor Danny Cooksey, who you may know from Terminator 2, and he was also Sam, the little brother on Different Strokes. You know, when Mr. Drummond got married in the last 2 seasons. But, yeah. Donkey Lives is played by Michael Ray Bauer, who you may know from parts in Evolution, or, Sultan. Dude, Where's My Car? He's been in stuff. He's one of those actors. Oh, hey, that guy. He was in stuff as a kid. So, yeah. And yeah. So yeah, it's the goings on of people at the camp, and all you need to know is that Budnick is the bully type character, but they don't portray him as an unlikable bully. They portray him as he's like a rough on the outside type, where he's a bully, but he's not entirely bad. Whereas something like Shredder Man Rules, they portrayed Andrew Caldwell's character, Bixby, as someone who couldn't change. They even made that joke at the end where all the events of the movie didn't change, and nah, he'll never change. And then, so yeah, where Budnick is the boy with the heart of gold sort of situation. He's not technically bad, but yeah. So we started the episode out with Sponge. I don't know if that's his real name, but that's what they call it, Sponge. He's video recording his time at Camp Anawana and happens upon Budnick, who is writing Ugg Lee is a loser in the on the tree. He's carving into the tree, and then Ugg shows up and is like, hey, he's like, oh hey, I just saw this. Someone, listen, I was scraping it off for you. He's like, oh, I got you now. Well, you can't prove it's me. And he looks at the camera. Oh yeah, well, that can. Give me the camera. Give me the camera. And we go to the credits. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Camp Anawana, we hold you in our hearts, and when we think about you, it makes me wanna fart. It's a whole winter apart. Now get it right or pay the price. Yeah. So yeah, did it move again? But yeah, and then after the credits, we get basically introduced to the episode by Dr. Khan, who is the faceless announcer, recreations announcer or something. I'm listening to him, and he's like, the ghost story about the camp's history. I'm like, so he's just here to tell us what's going to happen, I guess. I don't know if that's every episode, because I haven't watched through these in a while, but yeah. This episode is also on Paramount Plus, but I want to know commercials, so because I have ads on mine, so I want to know ads. So, but yeah. So first of all, this whole episode is about how Budnick's not scared of anything, but right away, and I totally get this. Right away, Donkey Lips puts a fake spider on his leg. His head is a spider. But then the whole episode is like, you can't scare me. I'm the king of the world. Nothing scares me. And I'm like, and this whole episode is based on a bet that they can't scare him. And I'm like, but Donkey Lives already scared him. So he's scared of something. And I know this, but they never capitalize on using spiders for it. It just sort of happens like it. But yeah, so he tells the story of Zeke the plumber, a story that makes no sense, and I'll tell you why. So apparently there was a guy named Zeke who used to clean the toilets around there, and then one night when he had no nose, which apparently means if you have no nose, you can't smell anything, which is bullshit, because your smell receptors are in your facial region, not here. I know they say maybe your if this blew off, you'd still be able to smell because the receptors are still in your body. But for the sake of the story, he can't smell because there was a gas leak and he couldn't tell because he couldn't smell the gas. He lit a match to see what was going on, and the whole cabin blew up. Which is why there's now a clearing in the woods somewhere. And that's where it happened. No, I think you'd still be able to smell. Even if this was cut off, I think you'd still be able to smell stuff. I don't think that's how it works. It just doesn't seem realistic. Anyway, tells the story, and that night, well, Michael has a dream. That's one of the characters. He's really the point of view character in the first episode or second episode, but then he leaves after this season. So Michael has a dream that Jake the Plumber shows up and steals Harry the Hippo, his childhood stuffed hippopotamus toy, comfort toy, I'm guessing. And yeah, also in the girls' room, Dina, who had a crush on growing up, she is Heidi Lucas is the actress's name. She's putting toothpaste around her bed because she says that'll get rid of ghosts. Now that's just stupid. Everyone knows you're supposed to use salt. I mean, come on. It's a common thing. You watch Supernatural, you can figure it out. You're supposed to use salt, not toothpaste. But she says fluoride's going to protect her, and the other two aren't scared, but then they hear a noise, and she turns the light on, and they're already putting the toothpaste. It was dark. How could you even see where the toothpaste was? All I can think of is the poor bastard that had to come in there and clean the toothpaste up the next day. Because I'm sure they didn't do it. But yeah. And the next day, this is a weird way this scene went, because Budnick's like confronting Michael. He's like, "Oh hey, Zeke the plumber visit you? Haha, I just cut one." What? What I do like with this is when he walks by, you see ZZ go. He walks by like it followed him, and she caught a whiff of it. Yeah. So they're talking about what happened. Telly falls asleep, and she has a dream. Like Zeke the plumber shows up, and it's clearly Kirk Bailey in the costume in the dream. And he's like, "Hey, I'm Zeke the plumber." And who's Ugg, by the way? Zeke the plumber. I make your wish come true. She goes, "I want to play professional ball." So because she's a tom girl, you see, he puts her in a dress. There you go. There's your ball. You said I want to play ball, not go to on. And so then she wakes up, and so they make the bet with Budnick. Budnick's gonna spend the whole day and night, out in the clearing where the cabin was. And if he doesn't get scared, then Telly has to show up wearing a dress, and Michael has to walk around with Harry the Hippo the whole time, which we never get to see. Actually, technically, they don't lose, but we'll get to it. So, you notice that Donkey Lip shows up with a bunch of food and stuff, and they leave to plot their plan. Ugg shows up for no reason. Really, he's like, "How'd you guys get Budnick? I want to be in." They're like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." And when they start putting out what they're gonna do, they go, "Ugg goes, oh no, I got my own plan to get him." Then why did you show up there anyway? Because honestly, if he didn't show up, I think it would be less obvious to who the Zeke the plumber is that's chasing Budnick later. Is it really a ghost or is it Ugg? But when he says I have my own plan, it becomes very obvious that it's Ugg. But anyway, so while they're doing that, he's using all the food and stuff to set up traps to catch them. One of the traps also makes no sense. So he sets up a 6-pack of soda, right? With little ropes to each of the pop tab pieces. So that when it opens up, it'll shoot out. He shakes it up. So it will do this, right? But they don't show up till nighttime. By that time, the soda would have settled. However, when it sets off, it goes squirting out, which doesn't make any sense because that's not how that works. Put myself in the nose. You see that? It went almost in my nose. No. You guys remember that thumbnail where I'm drunk? I'm going, whatever. My tongue kind of blends in. Look, this is the pink I'm wearing. So I wear pink. It's a manly color. Anyway, that was the time. So Donkey Lips' whole part in this plan makes no sense. They give him this pumpkin mask to run around to scare Budnick. And he puts it on and he goes, "I can't see anything." And I'm like, well, just there's a camp. Find some scissors, cut little holes in the eyes. So you can't see. But no, he puts it on and then wanders around the whole time blind. Yeah. So, yeah. Just sort of, yeah. But anyways, so their first idea is the girls try to scare him by sneaking up on him wearing pantyhose on their heads. So I'm assuming they're Dina's pantyhose because, well, Tully's a tomboy and I don't see ZZ having pantyhose. So, I don't know. But But it's the setup. It's a fake dummy with a melon for a head. I like Tully's joke of, all I knew was melon head. This proves it. And then Budnick's in the trash can that's there, which wasn't there before. Because when they sit him down, it's just the chair and the food stuff. That can was not there. I think they would have realized it. I don't know. And he scares them and they run off. And then Sponge and Michael come up with ghosts that are on a, you take like it's like a cross thing. But the ghosts on there. And what I noticed is on top of the ghosts, they put helmets on the ghosts. And when you're a kid, you're like, well, that doesn't look like a ghost. Are they wearing helmets? But as an adult, you go, well, if they weren't wearing the helmets, they'd look like something else. They would look like a certain clan was coming for Budnick. Even though Budnick is white, it still wouldn't look very good. This isn't South Park, so yeah, I can see why they put the helmets on there. But it doesn't work. Budnick proclaims himself king of the world, and no one can scare him. And that the bet is over? He's like, you get to our dress, and you get Harry the Hippo. And I'm like, but the night's not over yet. You said you had to stay the whole night. You haven't stayed the whole night yet. So the bet's not over. Then he hears a noise. And you're thinking, well, Donkey Lips is still out there, right? But no, that's not the noise. He comes across to Zeke the Plumber. And because Zeke the Plumber says, I smell your fear, he realizes that it's not really Zeke the Plumber because he wouldn't be able to smell anything, but he would be able to even if his nose is blown off because it makes no sense. And of course it's Ugg. He's like, no one can scare me, and then he runs through a spider web, and that's where he gets scared and asks for help. Why does he need help? He's stuck? I guess? I don't know, I'd be freaked out too. Spiders, bugs. It's bugs in general, actually. But yeah, they come to his rescue, so I guess he loses. I don't remember what it was that he had to do if he lost. But Budnick was supposed to go get some scissors or a knife or something to cut Ugg down, but he didn't. So he's been upside down the whole night, and he's still conscious. I don't know how many hours it's been, but I'm assuming by then it's enough for him to have passed out from being upside down so long. But no, he's just fine. And to finish off the story with Donkey Lips, he's still wandering around with the mask on, and Ugg sees him and starts freaking out, and then the episode ends. Boom, 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 boom. Classic episode. The Zeke the Plumber thing. I guess I had a Mandela effect, because I thought it was implied that Ugg was Zeke the Plumber. Zeke the Plumber was Ugg, but that it was never revealed. I thought he got scared and ran off into the spiders, and then they never found him, but it was implied. It was never revealed, so I guess I was wrong. But also, I want to point out that the Zeke the Plumber, that Ugg in the Zeke the Plumber costume that's running around chasing after Budnick is this exact same, looks exactly the same as the one that was in Tully and Michael's dreams. Not only that, but it looks the same in both of their dreams too. Budnick never describes what Zeke the Plumber looks like. He just says he has no nose. So the fact that not only the two of them in their dreams, but Ugg visualized the same look for Zeke the Plumber. This is the real world that, they would look different each time, right? The only thing that would make sense with Tully is that Michael described his dream and what Zeke looked like, and then she sees that resemblance. And maybe Ugg overheard it and made the costume out of that. Who knows? I don't know. But it's never explained. It just doesn't make any sense. But I'm nitpicking this point. This is a great episode. It's one of the more memorable ones. Everyone points out this episode as one they remember. So, yeah. And they used to play it on Halloween and stuff. Because it works. It's not a Halloween episode, but it works. When did it air? Let me look quick. Turn on. July 13th, 1991. The episode is now 32 years old? No. Yeah, 32 years old. No. It's 34 years old, huh? Because it's 2025. 34 years old. Because I was looking at the 13 for some reason. 34 years old. Yeah. But, it got me. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this episode? If you have so much, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.